decided that studying in Canada is good for you and that it aligns with your short-term and long-term goals, the next thing to do is to plan your strategy. You might find yourself asking these questions. Is it really necessary for me to study, or is there another way? Another is, using the study to PR pathway in Canada, how can I transition from being a student to PR? And do I need to study for 1 year or 2 years? And how early or late can I get the permanent resident status? These are the common questions for the applicants in this journey. But like all other problem-solving activities, you have to know your start and finish line, meaning your current situation and your final situation.
And in Canada immigration, the best way to do that is to calculate your CRS score. Do a quick search to go to the official CRS Calculator website. Make sure you click the right website, which is this, cic.gc.ca, to lead you to the official calculator by the Canada government. So this is the CRS Calculator, or CRS Score Calculator. It says here that this tool will help you calculate your Comprehensive Ranking System, or CRS score, based on the answers you provide below. So your score will solely depend on the answers that you will be providing, and since this is just used to estimate your score, this website will not ask for any of your confidential information, not even your email address. That is another reason why I want to lead you to the official government website, because there is a possibility that other websites, well, not all of them, might be asking for your personal information and used it for their advantage. Please take note of that, okay? I will be showing you how to strategize using this CRS calculator. For the purpose of this discussion, we will be using a person named Charlie, who is single, 28 years old, graduated with a bachelor's degree in information technology, and working as an IT analyst in the Philippines for 3 years now. He took the IELTS exam and his scores are 8.0 for speaking, 8.5 for listening, 8.0 for reading, and 7.5 for writing. This is a pretty good English score, and I would say above average for most applicants. So let's calculate Charlie's CRS score. Marital status, single. Age, 28 years old. Level of education. This will be the highest level of Charlie's education. Take note that if your degree was from outside Canada, in order for your education to be credited for express entry, you need to apply for Educational Credential Assessment, or ECA, from accredited agency, and the report is valid for 5 years. Here's a list of designated organizations, and ICAS is one of them. Here is an example of an ECA report from ICAS showing the degree outside Canada and the equivalency of that degree here in Canada. In the report, it will show you whether it is a bachelor or diploma, and that's the answer that you will use for the calculator. In the official express entry application using your MyCIC account, it will require you to enter the file number or the certificate number that can only be found in the ECA document. So you cannot create an EE profile without it. So if you're just getting started with your application, like Charlie here, you might not have this report yet, but it's okay. We are just estimating your score here, so just choose the option that best fit your credentials. In Charlie's case, we will choose bachelor's degree. Charlie did not study in Canada before, so the answer to this is no. Here it is asking for the language test results. So in Canada, the official languages are English and French. So you can show proficiency for both languages, and you will get points for that. For English proficiency, EE accepts CELPIP or IELTS, but it has to be a general module as seen here. Take note, if you want to study in Canada, most of the institutions need academic module for IELTS. So if your program of study requires IELTS, double check the requirements. You might need to take IELTS academic to get the letter of acceptance, and then later on, when you are ready to create your EE profile, you have to take the general module again. Here is an example of an IELTS General Training Test Report form, and it shows the scores for each band which are necessary for you to calculate your score. Just like the ACA requirement, for the official express entry application using your MyCIC account, it will require you to enter the test form number that will be found only in this certificate. So technically, you cannot create an EE profile without this report. Take note that the test results have to be less than 2 years old in order to be used for express entry. In the IELTS certificate, here at the very top, written in small letters, there's a note saying that it is recommended that the candidate's language ability as indicated in this test report form be reassessed after 2 years from the date of the test. In Charlie's case, his certificate is valid. Let's choose yes. For his official language, he took IELTS, and then let's key in his score. Speaking is 8.0, listening is 8.5, reading is 8.0, and writing is 7.5. And he doesn't have any other language test. Now for the work experience. The first question is skilled work experience in Canada, which Charlie doesn't have, so choose none. Next, in the last 10 years, how many total years of foreign skilled work experience do you have? There are 3 important things here. First, the date. They are asking for the last 10 years, not 15, not 20, last 10 years. Next, foreign means outside Canada. And last, skilled work, so it should be in either NOC 0, A or B. And if you work in different jobs, you have to choose only one occupation, and your employment for that occupation has to be paid, not free. And it should be full-time or an equal amount of part-time. Let's take Charlie's case for example. So he is an IT analyst. Let's search for his NOC code here. Type IT analyst and search for the best match. So NOC 2171, Information Systems Analyst and Consultants, NOC A. Now, this might match Charlie's designation, but in order to make sure that NOC 2171 is really the correct NOC code for him, he has to check the job description of this NOC code to see if it matches the actual work that he is doing. We will not get into the details of that in this video. Going back here, let's choose 3 years or more. Next, this question is referring to skilled trades in Canada. So this is not applicable for Charlie. Then moving on to additional points section. Valid job offer supported by labor market impact assessment. This is for applicants with Canadian employer that is willing to support their PR application by providing a valid job offer. For the job offer to be valid, it has to meet all these criteria and more as listed in this website. If you're interested, learn more about that here. For Charlie, no. Nomination certificate from a province. This is the provincial nominee program. Each provinces and territories here in Canada have different sets of eligibility criteria in choosing provincial nominees. You have to express your interest in that particular province that you selected, and they have to accept you as a nominee in order for you to get the points for this question. Take note that the province will add an additional 600 points to your CRS score if you are chosen as their nominee. Pretty much that's all you need to get an ITA. But it is not as easy as you think. To learn more about the PNP, go to the respective province website. For Charlie, no. This is the last question, and it is asking about your siblings in Canada. You will get additional points if you or your spouse have siblings in Canada. The eligibility is listed here. For Charlie, no. Then, we've answered all the questions. Time to calculate the score. Click this button. It will display the summary of the score here, and at the very bottom, we'll see the grand total, which is Charlie's CRS score, 441. Basically, the formula is this: core human capital plus spouse factor plus skill transferability plus additional points equals your CRS score. Let's quickly look at each item here. First, the core human capital factors are your age, level of education, study in Canada, languages, and Canadian work experience. In the viewpoint of immigration, they want candidates who will be most beneficial to Canada in terms of these factors. The optimal age for immigration here in Canada is 20 to 29 years old. For this, you will get a perfect score of 110 if you are single and 100 if you are with a spouse. All of these scores here are explained in this website called CRS Criteria Express Entry. This is the best place to go if you really want to understand the scores for each factor. Next, spouse factors. Since Charlie is single, this section is not applicable for him. If you are applying with spouse, the level of education, language score, and Canadian work experience of your spouse will add to your CRS score. The maximum points to be earned for spouse factors is just 40 points. It's not much. But for some applicants, even 5 points or sometimes even 1 point matters. So this could be a make or break part. Next, skill transferability factors. This section focuses on language proficiency and education, as well as work experience both inside and outside Canada. And finally, additional points are these factors. All of these make up your CRS score. So for Charlie, it is 441. The previous EE draw on August 5, 2020, minimum cutoff was 476 points. Meaning if your CRS score is 476 and higher, you will get an invitation to apply. If Charlie applied for EE with a score of 441, he will not get an ITA.
In the game of express entry, the higher the CRS score, the better. But how high is high? Let's look at the previous draws.
If we look at the express entry year-end report for 2019, those applicants with CRS scores of about 450 to 480 received ITA or invitation to apply. There are some odd scores here, around 300s. These draws were specific for skilled trades EE program only. If you are a foreigner with no work experience in Canada and your job knock code doesn't belong to the trades, you are not qualified in this EE program. Instead, focus on FSW, PNP, and CEC. Let's look at the recent EE draws. You will see here the draw number, the draw date, and the EE program applicable to that draw. As you'll notice here, the draw was only for Canadian Experience Class or CEC. These are the applicants with minimum 1 year work experience in Canada. The CRS score of lowest ranked candidate invited was 445. This is a program-specific draw, meaning if your score is more than 445 but you do not have Canadian experience, you will not get an invitation to apply. Then on July 22, 2020, previous draw was only for provincial nominees. These are the EE applicants who received additional 600 points because of the nomination from their province. That is why the score of the lowest ranked candidate invited was so high, 687 points. And lastly, you will see in the most latest draw, it says no program specified. the CRS score of the lowest ranked candidate invited was 476. So in this draw, it doesn't matter which EE program you are qualified. As long as your score is 476 or higher, you will get an ITA. Pay attention to this as well. Rank required to be invited to apply, 3,900 or above. But how will you know your ranking? Scroll down to CRS Score distribution of candidates in the Express Entry pool as of August 4, 2020. In this table, you will see the updated ranking of EE applicants in the pool. For example, those with PMP nomination, their scores will always be 600 and up, and currently there are only 519 applicants with scores in the range of 601 to 1,200 as of August 4, 2020. Remember, this is being updated regularly, so always go to this website to check the current status. Looking back at 2019 table here, EE usually invites around 3,000 applicants per draw, so these lucky 519 will surely get an ITA if the next EE draw is for provincial nominee program or no program specific. Now, if your CRS score is in the range of 470 to 480, there's a good chance that you'll get an ITA because there's only 5,065 applicants in that score range. If not for the next EE draw, maybe in the following draw. Because as we saw earlier, the number of invitations per draw is about 3,000 or more. But take note, as new applicants join the EE pool and old applicants' EE profile expires after a year of being in the pool, the number of candidates will change accordingly. If your CRS score is in the low 400s or high 300s, there are about 40,000 or 50,000 applicants above you in the ranks. And it is the sad reality that it is very unlikely for you to get an ITA unless maybe you're qualified for skilled trades EE program.
But don't worry, it's not the end of the world. You can look for ways to increase your CRS score, like applying for provincial nomination, getting Canadian work experience, improving your language course, or studying in Canada just like I did.